Yes. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. It is Friday, September 30th. If you were listening to the podcast in audio form, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6, it is Thursday, September 29th, and we are live for a Best Bets/Picks show. I caught some derision about my record last week from Pete Prisco. RJ White hadn't said anything. What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
Oh, I deserve all the abuse I can get this week.
Well, you're like, did you be 3-1? You only had 4 picks. I was like, maybe. And you're like, disgust. Well, and I was like, let's see what Pete's record is.
No, that's not why. It's just that we'd like to know your picks every week. You never put them in.
I put them. They're in the rundown every week.
RJ?
Well, there's nothing in the rundown this week in terms of picks, so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But I know I sent mine in. I know Pete sent his, or I saw Brinson sent his in with a very odd pick at the top that we don't have to get into.
yeah. What are you doing putting that in?
I was writing my picks column late on like Wednesday, and I was trying to write down what my bets were, and then get them sent in to Billy early, and then the Bengals were never 5.5. I don't know where I got that line. I don't know. Fat finger, maybe.
I don't know, but that was amazing.
Well, I can't pick the Bengals anyway.
Right, of course you can't. That's why. That's
the Bengals would be a best bet if I were. The Bengals are a best bet in my picks column, and I was just transposing them over there. I haven't turned it in yet. Fortunately, the Bengals. I have it written down. Why did I have it written down as 5.5? Very bizarre.
You're making up numbers. You're taking games you can't pick. I mean, what the hell?
Hey, look, man, you know what? I'll tell you what it is. I can't focus on football. I can't focus on professional football this week.
I know, because Clemson's going to whack NC State this week.
That is all I've thought about for the last 3 days. Really, the last 4 days, 5 days, maybe. That's all anyone in Raleigh is thinking about.
You'll be in some toilet bowl in late December as usual.
How dare you?
I mean,
Hurricane Ian. I'm curious. Do we have any thought on what Hurricane Ian is going to? Obviously, the safety of everyone is paramount to anything else. But from a football perspective, I'm wondering, like globally, do we know if there's particular games that we need to look at for weather purposes? Because the NC State Clemson total opened at 44, dropped all the way down to 39.5. Now it looks like the storm has shifted east, maybe, and so it does. It looks like the totals jump back up to like 42.5.
It should be out of there. It should be out of there by tomorrow in South Carolina.
It's gonna be like 61 and sunny on Saturday.
Yeah. So why would that impact?
It was planning on being right over Clemson until
I don't think any games are going to be impacted at all.
The Buccaneers, the mayor said something like, we're going to hope to play. They've been practicing Miami, but they seem like, I think they're going to be good to go. Possibly like for that game on Sunday night.
Yeah, I think it's skirted. I mean, Tampa got hit from some stuff, but it wasn't like South Florida, the southwest part of Florida. So I think they'll probably play there.
I think the mayor coming out, and that was Thursday, I think you're talking about, after the storm hit, and making it sound like she wanted to play there, makes me think that they think that they'll be able to do it. You wouldn't be that positive, I think, if it was still up in the air. So
correct.
I would assume they're playing there.
Okay, so we don't think there's going to be any games, because if this thing is cooking off east, it should go out into the ocean and not run up the
East Coast. Right.
Okay. So maybe there's a game. We don't have to worry about it from. It's not a huge weather concern, is what you're saying, across the board.
It was a huge weather concern. It's not a huge weather concern, I don't think, right now for any impact on a football game.
Okay. That's what I was asking.
Which is the least important thing that matters when it comes to those things.
Obviously, but
yeah,
we are doing a best bets gambling show.
I get it.
Weather and wind matter. I mean, that's the reality. I kind of wanted to be in another hurricane game. I've sat through an entire hurricane game. It's amazing. It's like it's just insane.
Why would you do that?
Because it's just you could watch a football game in a hurricane. Couldn't look left the entire game. It was crazy.
It sounds terrible. Did you see that Buffalo New England game last year with the 70 whatever? That did not sound fun at all.
See, I think that sounded great. The awesome Dawson asks in chat, have I missed any game discussion yet? Or are we still in the obligatory small talk? We are still in the obligatory small talk general focus phase. Let's just get into the games, because we do have another I have another show to do, because that's just how it works. The parlay is still dead. RJ went 5-1 at week 3. I went 3-1. Pete went 1-5. I'm now 8-9. Pete 10-8. RJ up white hot. 12, and 7. You can get RJ's picks at Sportsline. If you don't get, you can get them here too, obviously, but you can get all of RJ's picks at Sportsline, sportsline.com. Use promo code WHITE, and you will get your first month for $1 or something like that.
6-1-1 against the spread last week. Missed my over-under play by half a point, so 6-2-1 overall. So really good. I think I'm 19-8-1 on my all of my picks for the last 2.5-3 weeks, whatever. I typically put 9-10 picks up every week over there.
Did you do the super contest this year?
I did. I am 9-6 in the Circa Million and 8-7 in the Super Contest. So above water, but not great.
I mean, you must be putting the wrong ones in.
Yeah, all my amazing picks last week. The one tie last week on Sportsline was Houston, which I got at +3 in the contest. It was +2.5, and I stuck with it like an idiot. And I should have went with one of the other things I liked. Cincy was a game I liked. I didn't put it on both cards, and Indy I didn't put it on both cards. So I could have easily got Houston out and got a 5-0 week.
All right. I like it. Let's stay hot. Week 4 coming up. This feels like a chaos week. There's a lot of short spreads. Only a couple of I think maybe just one spread over 7, maybe 2. Anyway, Vikings -3 at, and I'm doing air quotes there, at the Saints. It's in London, 9:30 Eastern time on Sunday morning. That was early. The over under here 43.5. Pete, Saints.
That's an early game after a Saturday football game, isn't it?
Yes,
I would imagine. Yes, it is. Okay. I like the Saints in this game, no matter who plays quarterback. And I think
it's going to be Andy Dalton.
But I really think at some point it might have been Andy Dalton anyways.
Yep.
I really, I said this last week. Guys in New Orleans, when I was there, were talking about the possibility that Andy Dalton would be the starter by week 5. And in fairness to Jameis, he has a bad back, but he's not playing well. I think Dalton will play well. And I think this will be a defensive game. But their defense has played well, but they're just not scoring points, and they don't score points until late in games. So, but I think this time around, I think their defense will keep them in it. So I'll take the Saints as part of a teaser, and I'll give you the second half of it later. But I'll take the Saints as part of a teaser. Yeah,
the defense for New Orleans played really well last week, aside from one Chenault whiff at the line of scrimmage where he should have made that tackle, and he didn't. And Chenault jukes him and goes 67 yards for a touchdown. Aside from that, Carolina throws for like 100 yards. Mayfield throws for 100 yards. So I think New Orleans defense actually playing pretty well. I like New Orleans better too if a healthy Dalton plays over banged up Jameis, how he's looked. Olave emerging as a legit weapon. It helps them overcome the injuries to the other receivers. In my ratings, I downgraded New Orleans a point, just expecting them to stick with banged up Jameis. I upgraded Minnesota half a point after their win. That got the line to 2.5 on a neutral for me. So if you get it to 3, I think there's value on the Saints. It's just a lean for me right now, though.
I like Pete went 1-5 when he's busting out a teaser. By the way, it's like,
well, I like sometimes taking a teaser when you're getting
when you're getting 3 points.
On a team. I think they can win. I think they can win that game. So you give me 9, I'll take it.
Yeah, I know. I actually think I picked them to win. I think the Dalton move would be an upgrade just from getting like Jameis. Clearly, it's all their production on offense has been late in games, and they're just asking, just hey Jameis, go like make some, just go chunking around. I think Dalton will be look a little better forward facing with that offense. Olave does look great. The Saints defense is very good, and it'd be interesting because it's like Kirk Cousins versus Andy Dalton, right? I mean, that's like who like on an island game. Now, granted, it's not prime time.
But I did ask, is it? It's the only game on at that time. So is it prime time?
Yeah. Well, Breach looked it up. I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern in London time.
Right. It is.
Right, but it is the only game on. Like,
right. So counts.
I think it's less the national audience factor of being in primetime and more getting Kirk out of his routine. I think he's very much a creature of routine. And so you don't get much more out of routine from playing in the UK in a foreign, stadium where you're not the home team and body clock. It's 9:30 or 8:30, I guess, for them since they're central. So I think that's the factor more for me is he's out of his routine and his normal prep than it is like what time is the game actually being played at.
Did we see when the Saints went over? The Saints went over to London on Tuesday. Neither of these teams, by the way, are taking a week 5 bye. They elected to decline that. I believe the NFL gives you the option. They said, no, we don't want that. And so that's something to watch for look ahead lines in week 5. The Saints went to London and practiced there Wednesday. The Vikings the Vikings haven't left for London yet. Like we're recording this it's 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, and the Vikings haven't left. They will land at 8 a.m. Friday, stay up, work out, and have practice as well as meetings. This is via Fox 9 in Minnesota. They'll be allowed to sleep in on Saturday, then lock in for game prep Sunday. That is,
but teams have done it. The Jaguars have done it a bunch of different ways when they've gone. They've gone over for the week. They've gone over on Friday. They've gone over on Thursday. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to do it.
They basically consulted with sleep. They brought in sleep consultants who said they want to have their body clocks on Central Time as much, or keep it as consistent as possible. Stay on Central Time as much as possible, especially playing the Bears next week. And the players are encouraged to get whatever sleep they can on the plane there. Even take melatonin. They'll be provided eye mask on the plane. The lights will be off, and they're encouraged to stay off their phones. This is a little too cute for me. I like the Saints. I'll take the Saints as a best bet. I think that the Vikings. Kirk Cousins.
And there goes Brinson. He got afflicted by the Kirk Cousin malady, I guess. Kirk started talking trash about Kirk Cousins, and then all of a sudden, Illuminati kicks in into our
either that or his melatonin kicked in and he went to sleep.
So Brinson's on Saints +3 as his best bet. Next game we have on Chargers and Texans. Chargers are -5. Total's 44. Pete, I believe this might be part of your teaser as well. Just looking at the rundown, what do you think?
It is RJ, and I'll take the Texans +11 as part of the teaser to close it out. So I got Saints +9, Texans +11. I think this Chargers team is hurting in a big way right now, and you lose two of your best players. I mean, that's two of the 5 best players on that team. They're gone. It might be 2 of the 3 best players on that team. Rashawn Slater gone for the year. They have problems protecting anyway. And then they don't run the ball that well. And then you get on the other side of the ball and you don't have Joey Bosa now. And they've been banged up at a bunch of other spots. I think the Texans at home getting points, their defense has played well. Davis Mills threw a terrible, terrible interception at the end of that game. They could have won that game, probably should have won that game. But as it turns out, they didn't. But I still think they hang around in this game. Wouldn't shock me at all to see them pull off an upset. I don't think the Chargers are that good right now, and I think they have major questions. So I'll take Texans closing out the teaser +11.
Yeah, I think the Chargers offense is in shambles. I agree with you with Herbert beat up in the offensive line, losing its best player. Even if Keenan Allen's back, I don't think that they can be explosive downfield with protection issues. They're just not going to have time to throw with the state of that offensive line. Houston's defense actually solid against the pass. It struggles against the run. Though the Chargers run game doesn't look great. I thought they were going to run the ball last week against Jacksonville. No, that's a credit to Jacksonville's defense being improved, but Chargers, I don't think they can run the ball. Houston's offense, 31st in yards per play. They were limiting mistakes, which is why I liked him in that Chicago game. And then that backbreaking interception that lost them the game is the worst time to have that pick. I took under 45.5 on Sportsline. It's down to 44 now. It's only a lean for me. I wouldn't play it. If I'm going to play the spread, the Chargers injuries make it impossible to back them to cover 5 on the road. So I would lean to Houston as well.
Yeah, I picked Houston against the spread. The Rashawn Slater injury, you can't overstate how important that is. I mean,
no.
He got rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year votes. He was an all pro player last year as a rookie, and their drop off to his backup with Storm Norton,
who was terrible at right tackle, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. Or maybe he stays at the right. They bring somebody in at the left. Like however they. No,
he's supposedly he's going to stay at left because he hasn't been starting. It's been Pipkins at right tackle. But here's the problem: Matt Filer stinks this year. So now you have a left side of your line, which is the backside of that quarterback that stinks. That's
the Chargers season is over, I think.
A banged up quarterback too. Like you can't. Maybe if it's Kyler Murray and he can escape the pocket and he's healthy, that's fine. But Justin Herbert already banged up. That's a problem.
But was he banged up? He stayed in the game until the close. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
He took a sack. He took a sack down either 2 or 3 scores and was laying on the ground like wincing and grimacing. Like, what is Brandon Staley doing?
He's throwing passes with no time on the clock. What are they doing?
It's insane. It was negligent. It was like malpractice. It was coaching malpractice because this is your franchise quarterback. You're about to have to give him a huge contract this offseason after his 3rd year, and you haven't made the playoffs with him. And you got him out there with broken ribs, winging it around down 28 to the Jaguars with no time. It's stupid.
Brady Quinn tried to defend that. He said the player wants to play. I go with that. I don't care. The coach has paid a boatload of money to get him the hell out of the game.
Yep, I agree.
Player always wants to play.
Of course.
Yeah, he's like, I want to be a leader. It's like, yeah, of course you want to be a leader, but dude, like, come on. Jaguars and Eagles. My Philadelphia Eagles, 3-0. My Jacksonville Jaguars in the Brinson Bowl. Jaguars Eagles, excuse me, minus 6.5. Pete, over under 47.
This is a tough game for me, and reason being, Jacksonville leads the league in rush defense. Last year, the Saints led the league in rush defense. They went to go play the Eagles. What happened? They gashed them for over 200. It's a hard team to prepare for. But the Jaguars might just be young and dumb enough to not really care. And by that, I mean they don't know yet. Their confidence level is out of this world right now from people I talk to inside that building. They walk around like they actually think they're really, really good. And that was before Sunday's game. And so I think they might go up there and hang around. I don't think they're going to get blown out. I know the Eagles haven't done anything in the second half of games, which is a little concerning to me because I know they've had leads in some of those games, but their team's adjusting to what they're doing in the second half. So I'm going to take Jacksonville plus the points, and it wouldn't astound me if they won the game.
Defense playing well, though. I moved Jacksonville up 2 points with their improvements. They're starting to get in that range of being around an average team, and I think I'm going to keep adjusting them up. But even with that, the Eagles are so good to me that I still project this line at minus 7.5. So I think there's still value on the Eagles. They might be the best team in the NFC. The schedule hasn't been too tough for them. I think the defense has played well for 4 quarters, even if the offense isn't. And you talk about the run game last year, they ran over the number 1 rush defense. This year they have, the pass game number 1 in yards per play. They have an actual pass offense. So I think that's the difference here. Go with the solid run game. They can beat you anyway on offense. And the defense is strong on all 3 levels. It's going to be a tough test for Jacksonville's offensive line. Brutal travel spot. Jacksonville at LA last week, won that game, got to travel all the way back. Now you go up to Philly, hurricane in between to worry about. So, leaving those guys at home, if there's any damage in the area, I don't think there was up in the Jacksonville area, but still all that to deal with. Maybe they are dumb enough. It doesn't matter. They'll go up and hang with them. But I think the Eagles are just too good. And you take this line down to minus 6.5 when it was 7 on the look ahead, like the Eagles here. So Eagles best bet for me at 6.5.
Yeah, I like the Eagles too. I think it's Philly's just a really good football team. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but they are exactly what I thought that they would be. They're a team that's really deep on the offensive line, really deep on the defensive line, has a lot of skill position guys now with the addition to AJ Brown, and Jalen Hurts is taking a step forward, and he's taking a bigger step forward than I expected.
Why are you tooting your horn? Are you the only guy that picked them?
Yeah, I picked him. Did you pick him?
To win a division. I picked
him to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. You still think that right now they're the best team in the NFC?
Yeah, I feel good about it through 3 weeks. I'm sure it looks stupid too. Don't worry. I'm not.
Pete Prisco's number 1 power rank team.
Yeah.
Brinson, but aren't you going to get caught up in the Doug Peterson since you love revenge game so much? Doug Peterson revenge game.
That's the only reason.
Play harder for him.
That's the only reason it's not a best bet for me. The Eagles, because of Doug Peterson revenge game.
They're going to play so much harder for him this week.
Hey, you said they're walking around with confidence. You're going to be playing harder for Doug. He wants to win this one.
Yeah, I'm shocked they beat the Chargers since Peterson has no connection to the Chargers. And why did they play so hard in that game?
Suck, dude. I don't know what to tell you. The Jaguars are good. I think the Jaguars win the division too. Nick Costos was trying to give me crap and say that he's like, everyone picked the Jaguars to win the division.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. He's like, well, everyone bet it. I'm like, well, that's great, but I picked it. I made a pick, actually a pick. Man, grow up. That's gonna be a fun game though. Bills at the Ravens. Bills minus 3 in Baltimore, coming off that loss in Miami, where they ran 90 plays over under 51.5. Pete, it looks like you and I are going to be the chalk donkeys here.
Oh, I got a fish hook. I tell you what, I'm a big giant fish swimming around because I bit the fish hook. I'm in. They got me. They're reeling me in because I can't see how this game can possibly go under 51.5.
I was under 60.
I don't see it. The Bills did whatever they wanted to on offense last week and bogged down in the red zone. They moved up and down the field. They can still do that. The Ravens defense is not good. Lamar Jackson is playing MVP. These are the two of the MVP candidates right now. And the Bills defense is banged up and hurting with a ton of guys out. So what's going to stop these 2 quarterbacks from rolling up big numbers? I don't see it. I'll take the over 51.5 as the best bet.
Yeah, my only worry is that Buffalo's offense coming off running those 90 plays, like you said, in sweltering conditions. And do you think, Pete, that affects you a week later? Do you think they might be all rested up and fine for this game, or is it going to have an effect?
I think you'll be fine. I mean, it's a week later. If it was a Thursday night game, I might say, okay, you're all, probably, but not.
You mean like the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah.
I wanted to love the Dolphins this week, and that's the only thing that stopped me from playing them.
I don't love them this week.
Is that defense having
I shouldn't
to be on the field and all that. Yeah.
Anyway.
So this is two of the best offenses in the NFL facing two beat up defenses. So it should go over if the Bills have caught their breath. Baltimore's defense 31st in yards per play, giving up 458 yards per game. No idea how they slow the Bills. Baltimore's offense, though, first in yards per play, top three, both rushing and passing, can exploit the Bills' injuries. Bills are also banged up on the defensive line, not just the secondary. So I think this does go over too. I would lean Baltimore on the number. I still think the Bills are being overrated by the market. I do believe they're the number one team, just not as far ahead of everyone as the market is saying at this point. So I would lean to the Ravens against the spread at +3. Hopefully you guys can get 3.5. It's been 3.5 throughout the week at places. And at 3.5, I like Baltimore a little more.
Yeah, I like the Ravens in this spot, catching 3. Did I make them Oh, no, I have the best bet as the over. I do like the Ravens a lot. The only concern about this over, and I'm with you, Pete, like I was just like, whatever you make it, I'm going to take it, is just looking at the Baltimore weather. It does look like it could be, 10 to 15 mile an hour winds and pretty steady rain throughout the day.
It's a shame those two quarterbacks don't have good arms. I mean, because that'll ruin. I mean, come on.
No. I'm just saying that it's not like you would prefer if when you take an over, you prefer to have.
Yeah, of course. You'd like the weather to be good, but I can't see.
And both guys can run too, and I think that
right.
windy, sloppy weather can lead to a guy like Josh Allen or a guy like Lamar Jackson getting out in the open field and miss tackles and all of a sudden, big runs. So I'm going to stay on it.
You did take the Ravens +3 in the email you sent.
Okay. Then I'll take the Ravens +3 as the best bet. So I got Ravens +3.
I'll take the over.
Yeah, and the over. It's the best bet. I'm not afraid to add best bets as we go. You guys know that. Seahawks at the Lions. By the way, I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it'll come down to a late possession. The Bills banged up secondary is what has me leaning towards Baltimore more than anything. Seahawks at the Lions. Lions -4.5, Pete, over under 49.5.
This is another game that I don't see how it's going to not go over. So I'm going to take the over as the best bet, 49.5. I mean, the Lions have scored up until the last quarter the other day. They scored in every possession. They haven't been stopped, and they've been putting up big numbers. And I know St. Brown's dinged up, and that's a concern. Swift is dinged up. That's a concern. But the Seattle defense is awful. It's terrible. They can't stop anybody. And I think that's going to be a problem. Geno Smith is completing 75% of his passes. The Lions aren't exactly great on defense either. So I'm going to go over 49.5 as my best bet.
The Seahawks traded Russell Wilson and somehow upgraded at quarterback in one offseason.
Wow. I mean, he's not playing well.
He's playing better than Russ.
Geno's been better than Russ this season. That's just facts, man.
This line has dropped. It was 6. It's down to 4.5, 4 at some places. I think that's the uncertainty around Amon-Ra St. Brown. I can't believe people are buying into the Seahawks that much. So maybe it's just you don't make the Lions big favorites. They haven't earned that yet.
At Caesars. Wow.
So Seattle's offense showed it can move the ball versus a bad defense last week. That's what they're getting here. Detroit's defense is even worse with Tracy Walker hurt, a veteran safety that can actually, get people in the right places and bring some leadership. And now they're losing that. So think about how much worse a bad defense is going to be after that. If St. Brown plays, I do like going back to the over in the Detroit game like I've been doing. But for now, it's just a lean. I want to know his status. So I kind of predicted the Chargers thing last week and laid with the Chargers based on Herbert's health. And it was a little bit more wishy-washy than it should have been. So I'm going to play it a little safer here and just lean to the over.
Over down to 48, which is a little surprising. Are we get at 49.5? God, that stinks. I would bet the over at 48. I will probably end up betting this over. I've been saying that Lions overs are a good look and because they can come back against you and they're willing to score quickly and they won't stop trying. And they also let you come back against them as well. So I would look to the over here. I took Seattle +4.5. I don't know.
And they're aggressive with it on fourth downs too. Last week you saw Detroit kept on going for it on fourth down and situations where other coaches might, and it wasn't just like a clear go for it. There's like, we're just going. So if you want to do that and we're taking some more punts out of the equation than usual, it's going to lead to more scoring too.
Yep, for sure. Other Dan Campbell didn't go for it in that one fourth down that he had late. It's like that. Mm-hmm. That was a weird one.
That was a weird one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Browns at the Falcons. Browns -1.5 in Atlanta. Over under 49. Pete.
Yeah, this is one of the games that I got wrong last week, and RJ got right on one of our swing games. Seattle should have covered that game. They're not good on defense, though. I mean, they couldn't stop Mariota and the gang. But come on, at the end of the game, what the hell were they doing? Give me a break. That was bad play calling, I thought there. And look, Atlanta's they're feisty. They're smart. He plays well. Their offense runs a lot of great things, and they're tough to stop. But I think this Browns team is going to run all over them this week. I think it's going to be one of those games where they pound it. And Brissett's playing better than I thought he would play. And so I think he'll make enough throws here. I'll take the Browns minus the small number.
Yeah, Seattle's defense played last week. You know who else played bad last week was Atlanta's defense. They looked awful considering the opponent, and Seattle doing whatever they wanted to on offense. Geno Smith, you mentioned how great he's playing. Look ahead was Cleveland -3. It's moved down because Atlanta beat Seattle. I don't know that that's that impressive, and like Pete was saying, it could have went either way. Brissett is making great decisions, throwing with authority. I'm less worried about Cleveland's quarterback situation than I was coming into the year based on how he's looked. So that because of that, I've upgraded Cleveland to an average team, and I might have to go higher than that because if the quarterback is actually good, you combine that with one of the better running games in the league, great offensive line, good defense. I don't see why this team isn't a playoff team even before Deshaun Watson comes back. So that upgrade put this line at Cleveland -3.5 to me. And they're also coming off a mini bye after playing Thursday. So this line is still trending down. It's now 1. I don't know what the people are seeing to play the Falcons here. I think it's just looking at that offense being better than expected and people buying in on that. But the defense doesn't look as good as we expected. Cleveland looks much better than we think. I think they're going to win this game. So I have best bet Cleveland -1.5 on our number and would love it if you can get it at 1 like we have here.
I took the Falcons against the spread on the site. I know what you're talking about with the run defense. And if the Browns commit to it and run the ball well, it's going to be a problem for Atlanta. I do think Atlanta's gonna be able to move the ball though on Cleveland, and we're still due for a Kyle Pitts. Where's the Kyle Pitts breakout game? It's got to be coming soon. This is it. This is the week. Atlanta, Kyle Pitts, huge game. Falcons find a way to steal this one. Suddenly, the Falcons are kind of in the mix for the NFC South in like the weirdest possible way. It got to be amazing. I can't root for the Browns anyway.
Do we know if Kyle Pitts hates Cleveland, or is it some type of revenge thing he could think about here? Is it?
Cleveland is the Pitts, and so therefore Kyle Pitts hates Cleveland.
So this would definitely be the breakout game here.
Yeah, just for that reason. All right, let's take a break. Oh yeah, Myles Garrett's status matters too, I think, and I'd be surprised if he played, right?
Probably, yeah. The Browns.
Well, we don't. What are the extent of his injuries? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. He's back at the facility on Thursday, but they haven't decided what they're going to do in terms of him playing quite yet.
The Falcons' offensive line playing well, though, and Mariota can move around a bunch. So I don't know that you're going to get a ton of sacks against Atlanta anyway. I think it's his availability wasn't tied to my pick. I'm not going to move the line up or down based on it.
Mariota, Geno Smith, and Jacoby Brissett playing well in 2022 is not something I was prepared for 3 weeks into the season. I'll tell you that much.
It's just a couple games. Let's slow the roll.
You're the one who hyped up Jacoby and Geno first, bro.
Well, they played better.
Let's take a break. When we come back, a big-time NFC West matchup next. The Rams at 49ers. 49ers -2.5. Over under 42, Pete.
Look, Jimmy Garoppolo was bad last week. There's no way to sugarcoat that, but the entire offense wasn't very good either. I mean, the Denver defense is pretty good. San Francisco's defense is really good. And I think that you think about it. If Tart picks off the ball in the championship game, they don't win the Super Bowl. And that was on the road. I think they're going to come in here and limit what the Rams do. The Rams haven't looked like the Rams yet. I still think there's some Super Bowl hangover going on there.
For sure.
And I think the 49ers will play well enough to win this game. And so I'll take the 49ers, minus small number.
Yeah, I don't think the Rams have looked great either, but they had trouble putting away Arizona, but they had 7.4 yards per play in that game. They were actually, able to move the ball. And I'm very worried about the San Francisco offense with the Trent Williams injury. That's a massive drop off at left tackle, maybe as big as the one we're talking about in the Chargers game, going down to Storm Norton. So Jimmy G didn't look like an upgrade over Lance versus Denver. Shanahan owns McVay, won both games last year as the dog. He's won 6 straight. That's my biggest worry about taking the Rams, which I am doing at +2.5. It's a best bet. It's dropping in at some places. If you get it lower than 1.5, I wouldn't play it, but I think the line should be 1.5. So I was hoping to get Rams +3 and put it in. But I think they're a fine teaser leg too. It's just a Monday night game. I have some other teaser legs I like that I just played the Rams as a best bet straight.
Yeah.
By the way,
the Rams.
By the way, he's won 6 in the regular season because he lost.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like literally the only reason I didn't take the Rams. This is the best bet was my concern that it's Kyle Shanahan just sort of has Sean McVay's number. But again, they won in the playoffs, so maybe that changes how things operate. And Jimmy G's he wasn't good. Oh, by the way, Brady Quinn had a good point earlier this week. Dan Orlovsky's not off the hook for Jimmy G stepping out of the back. Dan Orlovsky ran through the end zone for like 17 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, who cares what Dan Orlovsky thinks?
Oh.
Well, I mean, everybody, the guy says something and everybody goes, "Oh my God, let's bow down. Look what Dan Orlovsky just said." Like he invented the game. He ran out of the end zone. Give me a break.
I actually think he was
Twitter
wrong
cult.
with that. I think he was wrong with that Panthers thing he talked about too.
He was wrong about that, Panthers.
Yeah, he's wrong.
Matt Rule called him out on it.
Yeah, he did. Exactly. All right. Yeah, I would lean towards. I took the Rams, but definitely concerned with the Kyle Shanahan Sean McVay matchup. Another divisional huge matchup. Broncos at the Raiders. The Raiders are winless. The Broncos are in first place despite looking terrible all season. Raiders minus 2.5. Pete, over under 45.5.
Desperation is an amazing thing in the NFL.
Oh,
right
interesting.
Now,
Interesting.
Right. Why? Desperation is different than revenge.
You're talking about a motivation.
Right? I'm talking about desperation. Is
They're desperate to play harder.
What? No, they're not going to play harder. They just have to win. It's a must win. They're not going to play any harder. It's just a great spot, just like last week for the Colts. It was a must win for them. This is a must win for the Raiders. And for that reason, I think they find a way. Plus, you mentioned it, RJ. Russell Wilson's been bad. And, yesterday on our show, Brady Quinn tried to say, oh, well, that last drive is what you expect from Russell Wilson, going to get him going. Well, where has it been? It hasn't been good the whole year. So I think the Raiders will find a way to score points in this game, and I think they will limit what the Broncos do. I'll take the Raiders and their desperate situation to cover the number.
Yeah, I would like to play a desperate team here in this situation, but typically you're getting them in value. And the Raiders are favored here, 2.5. I don't think there's any value in that. I would love to play them if the line was flipped the other way, considering the last 0-3 team in the league. Denver stumbled to that win despite 3.7 yards per play from the offense. It's the opposite issue from the last two games where their yards per play was very high and they couldn't win, that first week at least. Vegas doesn't deserve to be the only 0-3 team. I think they're in the same tier as Denver. So that makes this line feel about right to me. Vegas needs to win more, so I understand the line. I just don't see much separation here. I'd be shocked if Vegas ran away with the win, so I put Denver in my teaser, teased them up to 8.5 as the first leg of my teaser. And if they can't win here, a little pet theory I'm starting to work on might be coming to fruition that Josh McDaniels just might not be a good coach.
Yeah, this would be a bad spot. It would almost be like, hey, do you guys want to just send McDaniels back to New England because they need an offensive coordinator? And this Raiders thing is not really working out well. He's already meeting with Mark Davis following games. That's not a great spot. I think I took the Broncos on our picks against the spread, but I think I would prefer. I think I want to take the Raiders. They are desperate. They're way more desperate. And Denver looked terrible. I just don't. I'm standing by my theory that Nathaniel Hackett is sending in several plays every time. And Russell Wilson is then making his own play call off a mini play sheet. And that's what's taking so long and why they're running it down to the end of the wire. He doesn't trust Russell Wilson late in games. I don't think this new coach he hired is going to make a huge difference. And again, if the Raiders that desperate, I think they got a decent little home field advantage there. It gets loud in that stadium. And probably be some Broncos fans there hungover off of bachelor parties and whatnot in Las Vegas. But I think I'll probably be emailing somebody and flipping to the Raiders in that game. I like the Raiders here.
Yeah, by the way, yelling run pass on the sideline is not a good way to go about trying to motivate your team there, Russ. How stupid is that? Hey, come on, guys. Run, pass, yell it out when you see it.
Yeah, it's
Shut up. Go sit down and study the playbook. Shut up.
Oh, my goodness. We got feisty Pete today. I love it. Titans at Colts. Man, there's some big divisional matchups this week. Colts minus 3.5. Over, under 42.5, Pete.
I had a hard time with this game. This is a tough game for me. And look, Mike Vrabel showed last week that why he's such a good coach, because he can get that team to respond the way they did after that bloodletting in Buffalo. And so it's hard for me to pick against them, but I'm going to. I think the Colts showed a little something last week. For one thing, the offensive line wasn't nearly as bad. They played much better. And I think that's important. Tennessee does not rush the passer that well. So, and Pierce got going at wide receiver, which is a good sign. I'm going to take the Colts minus the number, but I don't love this game.
Yeah, the Chiefs showed that they needed Kansas City to trip all over their own feet repeatedly to win the game and catch all the breaks. I don't think they should have even covered. I had them at plus 6.5, and I was like, I'm surprised Indy covered, much less won that game. Tennessee's offense played well, getting Henry involved in the pass game now. He had several targets, which was something new to see there. Tennessee's defense, 30th in yards per play, but they're second on third down. I think the pass rush can get to Matt Ryan in that defense, especially with their interior pressure with Jeffrey Simmons. I have Indy a point better than Tennessee in my ratings, but I'm not sure I believe it. I think you could flip that, and I'd be just fine with that. Several key Colts didn't practice on Wednesday, including Taylor. Probably was going to play, but we'll see how the health of the rest of them go. I have Tennessee as a best bet at plus 3.5. I don't think this should be north of 3.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually going to go to 4 too. I think I had Tennessee. Tennessee almost made my list of best bets. I didn't want to give out too many. I picked them against the spread. If you're going to get 4, you prefer that. I'm not sure exactly why it's moving that direction, whether it's like injury based or just money coming in on Indianapolis, but 3.5 in this divisional game with a Tennessee team that has played the Colts well. Mike Vrabel is going to keep this game close. I agree on the Jeffrey Simmons factor. And I also think that we really saw it last week. It was kind of interesting. The Titans got Derrick Henry involved in the pass game. And I think that helped to alleviate some of the aggressive pressure that people were trying to put on the Titans run game. And so if you can get Henry involved in that pass game, and then he started to really run well, I think we're due for kind of maybe like one of those just big Derrick Henry games. And this might be the spot for it. So I'll take Tennessee as not as a best bet, but I'm taking Tennessee against the spread. Next up, the Jets at the Steelers. The Steelers are minus 3.5. I thought we were picking 3. Over under 40.5. This game is pretty disgusting. I think the Jets are kind of overrated. And I don't think they're very good. I don't think the Steelers are great, but I'll take the Steelers as a best bet because I think Pittsburgh's defense is by far and away the best unit out there. And people are like, is Zach Wilson going to be back? If he is he going to be ready to play? Is he going to be erratic? I think Joe Flacco hasn't played. He had one good stretch against Cleveland, and that was it. I think Pittsburgh's a better team with more weapons and a much better defense. So I'll take Pittsburgh here.
I'll take the Steelers too. It's not a best bet, but I'm with you. I mean, if you look at this game, how can he take the Jets with Zach Wilson coming off injury? It makes no sense. And at some point, the Steelers have to get the ball to those playmakers on the outside, and I think this is an opportunity to do that. So I'll take the Steelers. It's not a best bet, though.
My leans to the Steelers also. If you can get it at 3, it becomes a best bet for me at 3. But 3.5 seems right to me. We'll see how Zach Wilson looks in his first game. He has an opportunity against a struggling defense in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to be rusty. He didn't practice at all. He didn't play at all in the preseason. So think about how those quarterbacks that were in that situation played in week 1. That's probably what we're going to see from him in this game. Pittsburgh's offense not appealing at all. 30th in yards per play, number 32 in time of possession. But they could take care of the Jets on third down here. The Jets defense has struggled on third downs. And if they do that, though, their offense will start looking better. So the Wilson factor would have me back in Pittsburgh at minus 3. At 3.5 is just a lean.
Any chance we see Kenny Pickett here?
A little too early, I think.
Yeah, too early.
Cardinals at the Panthers. The Panthers are favored in this game. Cliff Kingsbury. Have a start to the season, buddy. Panthers minus 1.5 feet, over under 42.5.
Think about this. If he had not, and it still could be, if he didn't get the extension, this would be the first guy fired bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're both in trouble. I don't care if he got an extension.
Panthers are celebrating that win over the Saints like it was the Super Bowl.
Right. Well, they're both in trouble. And I just don't see talent on that Arizona team right now. They're not playing very well. And I think Carolina, they're not loaded with talent, but their defense plays well.
Their defense is very good. I think
they're going to contain Kyler Murray, and they'll do enough on offense that I think that they'll find a way to win. It's going to be a low-scoring game, but I'll take Carolina.
Is Baker revenge game against Kyler?
Come on.
Carolina's pass
Kingsbury too, right? Yeah.
It actually is the Baker revenge game against Kingsbury.
Yeah.
I was kidding about the Kyler thing.
The Carolina pass game doesn't scare anybody. Like I said, 103 yards without that busted Chenault play where the guy can make a tackle. And if you can't throw the ball, I don't know how you cover big numbers, which is why
Christian McCaffrey, by the way, has not practiced either Wednesday or Thursday.
Mm-hmm. And if you lose him, it's game over, I think, for them, even against a bad Cardinals team. So I teased this up. Arizona plus 7.5. The defense for Arizona is 32nd in yards per play. So maybe Carolina's offense will finally get it going, passing the ball, but we'll see. Arizona's offense can't pass the ball, 32nd in pass yards per play. Not scary at all downfield, but they've shown the ability to rally after going down. Carolina doesn't seem capable of big point totals and scoring a big point total. So that's why I like teasing Arizona up. This look ahead was Arizona minus 2.5. It swung all the way to Panthers minus 1.5 because they beat the Saints, I guess, even though they needed a defensive touchdown to do that. So I don't know. I think that's reading way too much into the result for Carolina there.
I would probably look at this under. I think it's a game that, I'm not sure what Charlotte weather is going to be. It's now looking like Raleigh is going to get absolutely hammered with rain. It looks like Sunday there's going to be wind. It's going to be really rainy. It's just going to be the after effects of Hurricane Ian that's going to sort of, because it cut east, it's going to hit Charlotte, going to hit here. So I think under is probably a pretty good look. Neither of these teams is going to be explosive down the field. Like you said, Laviska Shenault plays a fluke play. Carolina's defense, I think, will bottle up Kyler in that offense. And I do think Baker will be motivated against Cliff Kingsbury. Not a best bet, but I like the Panthers in this spot. The Bears at the Giants. The Giants minus 3 over under 38.5, Pete.
Yeah, this is a terrible game, and it's going to be hard to watch. I mean, these are two 2-1 teams. Think about that. This is two 2-1 teams.
They better be in the playoffs if they started today.
And neither one of them is any good. But I'll take the Giants here. I think they're a little bit better. The Bears' defense is pretty good. Their running game has been really good. But I'm going to take the Giants here. But man, these are not two 2-1 teams. I can tell you that.
Yeah, this line was 3 when the lines initially came out, and the Giants played on Monday and looked awful, and the line went up to 3.5, which tells you nobody believes in Chicago. It's come back down to 3 now, so maybe somebody likes the Chicago at plus 3.5. I mean, they look completely one-dimensional on offense. Fields has 23 completions in 3 games.
Crazy.
But the Giants' offensive line is a train wreck, and Chicago knows how to pressure without the blitz. They're getting pressure with their front. And the Giants' rush defense awful without Leonard Williams last week. If he doesn't play here, I think Chicago is probably the play as much as I hate them overall. And I think the line should be Giants like minus 4.5 or minus 5. But that injury would be key enough for me that Chicago would probably be the lean.
I have the Bears as the best bet. I just think it's like you're getting 3 points. These two knows with these two games. You're getting 3 points in a total of 38.5 on a by the way, Pete, I'm curious. So Wilson suggested this, and I thought it was crazy. And then I met some new friends at the just randomly ended up getting played golf on one day and ended up there's a threesome, some younger dudes, 2 Giants fans. One guy said that he thought it was Daniel Jones' best game of his career against the Cowboys. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I don't think it was his best game of his career, but he wasn't awful.
Well, it was like he was pressured so much that he played.
He was brutalized back there. Yeah, and he moved away from it. If he couldn't move, he would have been sacked another 5 times.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just curious what your thoughts were
no, not his best game.
I agree. I'll take the Bears as the best bet plus 3. It's just you're getting 3 points. You're getting a field goal in a game that's probably going to come down to a field goal with a total of 38.5, and neither team's going to move the ball very much. So I'll take it. All right, we're going to move quickly through a bunch of other games. Chiefs minus 2 at Bucks over under 45.
I'll take the Chiefs. I don't love this game, back-to-back road games, but I think the way the Bucks are playing on offense, they're so bad right now that.
Sorry. I should point out, by the way, the Buccaneers have announced that game is going to be in Tampa Bay officially. So.
Yeah, it was going to be in Minnesota. It would have been a home game for Kansas City. As it is now, they have to go there. It would have been. They would have gone there.
Oh, is that they were talking about going to Minnesota? Oh, because of the Vikings are in London.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so I'll take Kansas City minus the points.
Tampa Bay offense decimated receiver last week. We know at least Evans will be back, so that helps them out there. I would make this Kansas City minus 2.5 on a neutral. I think maybe the market was anticipating it'd be on a neutral field because that's what the one line was early in the week. It's been steaming down now toward Tampa. I think you can get Tampa minus 1 now at some places, which is about where I think the line should be because Tampa has a really good home field advantage. So now that it's over, once Tampa's favored, I don't think there's any value in the game. If you can get Tampa plus points, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I like the Bucks plus the points in this one. Home game, Sunday night. Tom Brady. I mean, you want to bet against Tom Brady, and I know Patrick Mahomes is great as well, and so is Andy Reid. But that Tampa defense has the talent to slow down the Kansas City. And again, like Tom Brady at home, Sunday night football. I'll take Tom Brady plus the points. Patriots at the Packers. Packers minus 9.5, over under 40. Pete, there's been some scuttlebutt that Mac Jones actually might play in this, which just sounds insane.
Day by day. Day by day. Day by day.
What do I look like, an orthopedic surgeon?
No, but you know what somebody should have said? Well, get your orthopedic surgeon out here then so he can answer the damn question. How about that?
It's like, do I look like a doctor or an orthopedic surgeon?
You know, that back in the day, Coughlin used to ask me that all the time. What are you, a doctor? And I go, yeah, around here somebody's got to play one because you never make any decisions on these injuries. So I'll guess he has a broken leg. If you write that, you're going to be wrong. Well, then tell me what he actually has. That's all you got to do. You know, it's just these guys. Why do they do it? What's the rhyme or reason to the whole theory? Just say he's got a high ankle sprain. He's not going to play. Day-to-day. They should have shredded him. I'll take the Packers minus the points. I don't love it, but it's a big number, but I'll take them anyways.
RJ, are the Packers the only play in Survivor this week?
For sure. If you didn't use them in week 2, a lot of people use them in week 2 with the Bears. But I use the Rams. There wasn't many places I was going to like the Rams, but Packers, there was some places I was going to save them for. I play the Jets when they come back from the UK. I was going to use them there, but you got to escalate them forward, especially since you can't trust the Chargers anymore, and play it with the Packers. So I have this line at Packers minus 11 with Mac out. I would probably lay the 9.5 just to lean for now. Dobbs looks like he's emerging as the reliable weapon Rodgers needs, caught all 8 targets. So if Rodgers has a number 1 receiver there that he can rely on, that's big for that offense.
Yeah, and it felt like who was calling the last Packers game? Was it Buck and Aikman? No, who was calling the last Packers game?
It was the Fox.
Oh, it was Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said, I just heard that call this as part of the broadcast. They pointed out that Rubio knew coming in, like, and Greg Olsen was like, that matters when you're a rookie. You don't feel like you're pressing when you know it's going to be one of your games. You feel like you know you're going to get all these opportunities, and so now maybe that confidence grows a little bit. I think that's huge for the Packers. I think Green Bay rolls in this one. The Patriots just simply, if the Patriots didn't have Bill Belichick as their head coach, like, no one would be giving them a chance at anything, right? I mean, this team does not look good.
Right.
Yep.
No.
All right. Finally, Commanders. I said, put $1 in the swear jar. The artist formerly known as the WFT at the Cowboys. Cowboys minus 3 with an over under 41.5. Pete.
Look, the Commanders were my best bet last week across the board. It's one of the worst picks any human being's ever made. Give me Dallas. I mean, I just think Dallas, the whole talk about Cooper Rush, quarterback controversy, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And there are people that actually believe that. It's idiotic. Dak Prescott comes back. He's the quarterback. The Cowboys are better. I think they run the ball well. Their offensive line's getting better. I'll take the Cowboys minus the points.
Nobody would have put any stock into it unless it was Jerry that's stoking the fire there. So he's the one that's causing that talk of the controversy. I don't think anybody would believe it otherwise. I have best bet Dallas minus 3. Washington offensive line had no chance against Philly. Not sure how it gets any better here. Dallas defense had one of the most impressive pressure games in recent memory against the Giants. I don't know how Washington scores points in this matchup, even with their solid skill position players. If Carson Wentz is at quarterback and Dallas is rushing him, Dallas offense hasn't been bad with rush. 6.4 yards per play last week, no sacks, which is big for that offensive line. It actually looks like that offensive line's coming together. We thought it'd be one of the worst in the league with their injuries. Now they look actually pretty solid. I give Dallas 3 points for home field advantage, and I have Dallas 2 points better than Washington, so I make the line minus 5. It's come down to 3, and I think it's a solid 3 now. I think enough action has been on Commanders that it's minus 110. I don't know what people are seeing. I love Dallas at minus 3.
Yeah, now you guys are scaring me. I think I picked Washington plus the points. It's sort of like a dead cat bounce game for the. I mean, Washington couldn't have not been worse. I mean, they got absolutely destroyed by the Eagles.
Well, RJ made the point about the offensive line. The offensive line they were my spinning top of the week this week, 2 of them. The center was terrible. Schweitzer, he did the Schweitzer dance all week. You know what that is? You go backwards like this. and the right tackle Cosme was terrible, but they were not alone. The whole line stunk.
All right. I don't love either side in this game. And I think you could get you get good Carson Wentz for a half, and all of a sudden the Washington win this game. And Cooper Rush, man, I mean, let's settle down with the Cooper Rush hype or any sort of. I mean, he's good. He's fine. Completes underneath.
He's a backup for 3 games, and he'll help you for 3 games, and it becomes who you are. You are what you are. You don't change who you are.
That's right. And RJ is someone who likes to do look ahead lines. You got 2 look ahead lines for week 5, right, RJ? Is that correct?
Yeah, Cleveland is catching 1.5 points at home against the Chargers. The Chargers team we think has major downside with their injuries. I mean, we think they could lose to Houston. The value on them is crashing down. Cleveland got a major upgrade for me with Brissett looking good. I think the market's still too low on them. Right now, I have both these teams as average with a 0 power rating, but Cleveland's trending up and Chargers are trending down. So I make this line Cleveland -2 just based on those numbers, but I think that might be even a little higher once we redo the numbers next week after what we see this weekend. And the line might end up being Cleveland -3. So if you can get a +1.5 now, I think that's the way to go. My other one is Minnesota -7 against Chicago. I'm just going to keep fading Chicago. Didn't get any value on it this week with that look ahead fade. I worry about Minnesota coming back from the UK also, but just in power ratings terms, I have this line at -10. So -7 seems like a very good value to me.
Yeah, the 7 may be related to London. If they take care of the Saints, then you can certainly see that climb back up. All right, that's it for all our picks. Here are the best bets. Pete Prisco's best bets. He has the Saints. Excuse me. You have the Texans you have the Saints and the Texans in a teaser. Saints +9, Texans +11. You have the Bills Ravens over 51.5. The Lions Seahawks over 49.5. Browns -1.5. Raiders -2.5. And that is it. RJ's best bets are Philadelphia -6.5. Cleveland -1.5. The Rams +2.5. Denver +8.5 in a teaser, along with the Arizona Cardinals +7.5 in that teaser. RJ also has the Titans +3.5. And I believe that's it, right?
It should be
Cowboys.
6. Cowboys -3.
Cowboys. Sorry, yeah. Cowboys were on there. My bad. My best bets are Bills. Let's see, I got the Vikings, Saints +3. Excuse me. Bills, Ravens over 51.5. The Steelers -3.5 and the Bears +3. Those are terrible bets, and I don't really like them. That'll do it for the show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Go Clemson.
What is happening here?
Hey, look, I'm gonna throw this warning out again. You show up for Sunday night's podcast. State wins. You know, I'm probably gonna sound like I'm probably not gonna sound great. Let's just say that. Just throwing it out there.
What if they lose? You're still not going to sound great.
I'll sound a little better. Probably go to sleep if they lose after the game. It's be a long night. 7:30 kickoff.
Ooh.
Oh,
I'll be watching.
Yeah, hopefully. So the 2 guys I'm going with, they made a trip last year down to Mississippi State, and like ESPN caught one of the guys like with his head in his hands, like it was like kind of meme like in the stands after the game. So hopefully we don't get
You'll be a meme.
Hopefully we don't get memed. All right. Thanks as always, guys. For RJ, for Pete, I'm Brinson. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you guys later.